Uh, another Zoom panel discussion. What do we hope to achieve with these events? It is not unknown to all of us that there is a tremendous rise in attacks against the Asian, American, and Pacific Islander community, not only in New York City, but nationwide. This situation has become vicious as it has become an almost daily occurrence. The community's response was outrage, protests, and marches. But it also has had a debilitating effect. Because of fear, our people are afraid of venturing outside their homes. So, what do we hope to take away from our conversation this evening? I'm hoping that we will have a better sense of what is happening and that our fear will be lessened as we realize that we are not alone and that we can act together in finding solutions to this issue. Tonight, we are united as one AAPI community, and along with our allies, we are addressing this issue. We are also addressing our elected officials and authorities that we will not settle for less. No more grandstanding, no more empty promises, and no more endless investigations. We want concrete response from you. This evening, the AAPI community and our allies are here to learn, to support one another, and to act together to build a safer New York City that welcomes all people and all ethnicities. Now I'd like to introduce Noel Quintana, whom you may know as a survivor of an anti-Asian attack. He is also an important member of the Migrant Center of New York. Having volunteered with us since 2017, lending his accounting skills to help our nonprofit grow. He will share a little about what he went through on the day of his attack and why it's important for us to come together to talk about the attacks on our community. Noel?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Noel Quintana, and I'm an admin assistant in a non-profit organization that deals with a mental problem in Harlem. So on February 3rd, about 8 o'clock in the morning, my usual routine is going to the facility, going to the office. So I boarded the L train, and inside the L train, there's a lot of people standing room only. So I stood on the entrance and on the other side, so that I would not be a hindrance from people coming in and going out of the train. So when I reached Bedford, a man came and stood by my side, and in a few minutes, he started kicking my bag, my tote bag. So I turned on his back or on my back, so that and put my my bag in front of me, so that in case that my bag is disturbing him, it wouldn't be so. But in a few more minutes, he kicked again, and that's the time where the train stopped on the next station, which is the First Avenue, 14th Street, and I moved towards the inside I moved inside the train and I said to him, "What's wrong with you?" And that's the time where he slashed my face. And then it's also the time where the door opened. So she he exited the train right away and fled. And when I realized that I was slashed, I thought I was punched, but I didn't feel anything. But when I saw the reaction from the crowd, and I saw from um, from the man's hand that he was holding a box cutter, I realized that I was slashed, and I put my hands on my face, and I felt blood oozing. So I asked for help, and nobody helped me inside the train, though there are a lot of people there. There were a lot of people there, and nobody helped me. So when I realized that nobody was helping me, so that's then I decided to go out and seek help outside. And I walked from end to end of the station because there's nobody there. So I had to go to the front and look for a booth because I knew that there's somebody would there in the booth. And I asked the lady there to help me and call 911. And she was shocked too, but she did call 911, and the police came, and a few more minutes, um, the medic came and they asked me if I could still walk. I said yes. And I did walk, but in the middle towards the ambulance, I felt dizzy. So that's the time where they put me in the stretcher, and they drove me to Bellevue Hospital, where they repaired my face, the slashes. But the blood was still oozing and it didn't stop. So um, they asked me if they want me to be operated in the operating room so they could see and and clean my face, which I agreed. And the operation took about 3 hours just do uh, to do some stitches in my face. And I felt I felt alone, and I felt um, so scared when nobody even helped me because I thought that I would die um, because of the blood, because of blood oozing, and I thought that most of the fatalities or accidents uh, were due to loss of blood. So I think that it is important that a bystander at least, or everybody that should know how to respond to a crisis like this. Uh, Nobody even videotape what happened because I did not see any videos regarding that incident. Nobody even um, called the train operator just to inform that somebody was hurt inside the train. And they just they just look at me and as if nothing happened. They were shocked, yes, but they didn't do anything. I think that people should be responsive and know what to do, at least vegetate, so that if a police would ask for more evidence they could show, or we are being ignored because of our silence. We don't complain. We just kept it to ourselves on what happened, and um, I think Asians should solidify and fight for this injustice being perpetrated almost every day. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for your courage always in sharing your story and encouraging every other people in the community to speak up, and for reminding us how important it is that we do have a voice and we do give our voice to this so that our community can get the support that it needs. I realized I didn't introduce myself in the beginning, by the way. I'm Juhan, I'm the Deputy Director of the Asian American Federation.
While most people here probably understand pieces of the history that got us here, let's just spend the first question getting everybody on the same page on the history of Asian Americans in this country and what might have led up to this moment. We're first going to start with Kevin to get a historical context.
The Asian American Federation for having me here today. I think one of the things that's so important for us to recognize is that while there definitely has been an uptake in anti-Asian hate this past year as a result of the pandemic and some of the anti-Asian rhetoric that may have been spewed since 2020, we have to understand that this is something that has been part of the history of what is now known as the United States. When the first Chinese people first started to arrive in the 1800s, there were laws that were created as a way of discriminating against them and even keeping them out of this country. The first immigration law to specifically target people outside of the United States from coming, from certain groups from coming to the United States, was targeted towards Chinese women in 1875, the Page Act, followed by the Asian Exclusion Act, also known as the Chinese Exclusion Act in 1882, with later iterations in 1924 as well. And so when we think about the history of Asian Americans in this country, we have to acknowledge that immigration laws were created to keep us out. That prior to then, there were no such things as federal immigration laws to try to keep Asian Americans in. Asian Americans at that time, Chinese Americans, Japanese Americans, Filipino Americans, were viewed as people who were stealing jobs and stealing women, and were viewed as sexualized criminals. And part of that was because majority of the people that came during that time were men. And so we see that there was a lot of anti-Asian violence. There was a massacre that killed hundreds of Chinese people. There was Watsonville riots in 1930, in which Filipino people were targeted. We also have seen the Japanese internment during World War II. And, even with Vincent Chin in 1970, as well as what's happened in the past 20 years with 9/11, that Asian people, South Asian people, Muslim people have been targeted as a result of anti-Asian violence. And that's something that doesn't get talked about. So anti-Asian hate has definitely increased these past 20 years, or this past year, but it has been around for 20 years and even before that. And that's something that I hope we recognize as part of our history, because it's oftentimes not taught in the classroom and isn't known by most Americans.
Thank you, Kevin.
The more that we educate our young people, the more that we're working on prevention, right? And I think it's also worth mentioning that I grew up in Florida, and so the kind of education that I had around American history and just slavery, and then the genocide of indigenous people, it was so whitewashed, right? Like there's still so much whitewashing of American history that is being taught all across America.
About how long it would take if we started including education, Asian American studies in K through 12 or at the college level, how long do you think that would take for us to see any sort of tangible benefit from it? And then if you see anything else, any action that individuals or companies or schools should be taking?
Yes, thank you so much. I think on the question of how long would it take, I think right away. Culture is such a powerful mover of how we act, right? If you think about how long did it take for the last administration to say anti-Asian things and then create a stir? How long did it take for music to have an impact on consent, right? Culture, how we teach each other, like that impact is right away. People start questioning, thinking, re-challenging themselves, especially young people right away. I know so many times I've been on the train and something happened to me, and the first people that did something were young people.
It's been a really great conversation. I really appreciate everyone who stuck through with us. I think in the conversation in the chat we saw, definitely there's a range of opinions, but I think the healthy discussion that we're having all comes from a place of wanting safety for our community members, for our loved ones. So I really appreciate everyone staying engaged with us. You can support Noel on his road to healing and recovery by donating to his validated GoFundMe page. It's at the link right there where someone could drop in the chat, that'd be great. Learn more about the Asian American Federation's Hope Against Hate campaign. Someone asked about in the chat of where that 30 million is going to go to. Joanne talked a little bit about it, but you can definitely learn more on our website, aafederation.org. It's going to help us put immediate street safety solutions in place if you donate to our campaign, and so which is a link that's also on our website. And please follow us on social media to keep up to date on that aspect of our work.
Before joining, just like you before joining the foreign service, and he served in various capacities in the Philippines and abroad in the past 22 years. His first overseas posting was here, permanent mission of the Philippines to the United Nations from 2003 to 2010, where he also served as a member of the Philippine delegation to the UN Security Council from 2004 to 2005. Consul General Cato was assigned to the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C. from 2012 until he volunteered to go to Iraq, where he served as Charge d'Affaires and Kiev and head of mission of the Embassy of the Philippines in Baghdad from 2015 to 2018.
How do you position yourself as a leader for the PhilAms here in New York and in the East Coast?
Bago po lahat, magandang hapon po sa inyo at sa lahat ng ating mga kababayan dito sa New York at sa ibang mga lugar na sakop ng ating Consulate General dito sa New York. Ako po si Elmer Cato, ang bagong Consul General ng Pilipinas dito sa New York, at I'm just on my 4th day today. I just arrived from Libya last week, where I spent 2 years serving our kababayan there. So this is not my first time here in New York. I've been here for my first assignment in the early 2000s. My parents live here, and I've been visiting since the early 1990s. So hindi na po iba yung New York sa akin.
Right.
And ngayon po ako'y binigyan ng opportunity to serve as Consul General dito. Gusto ko po sana na under my leadership, yung inyong consulate would be able to really reach out sa ating mga kababayan. I want to be more inclusive. I want to interact with more of our kababayan, especially those who we have not been regularly interacting with. I want to know their issues. I want to know their concerns, and I want to assure them that their consulate general is here to assist them. Diba? Like right now, we have this issue of Asian hate, and we would like to uh, reach out and tell our kababayan who have expressed serious apprehensions about their safety and security in the wake of the surge and incidents, and violent incidents involving some of our kababayan. We want to assure them that the consulate is here to help you.
Uh-huh.
Baka may maitulong po kami sa inyo. Huwag po kayong magatubiling lumapit sa amin. At yun po yung reason bakit kami nandito. Diba?
Yeah.
We're not just the place you go to for passport renewals or to get your documents authenticated. There are other functions of the consulate that you may not be aware about, especially if you're Filipino citizens pa rin, diba? We could come in and help you in some other ways. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Nandito po kami. I'm on Facebook. You could add me. You could message me. Twitter. Diba? So nandiyan na kayo. You could call us. We're there. We have this hotline that we recently reactivated for you to call if you have serious concerns about your safety and security or just any other concern. Just call us. Nandito lang po kami. And I hope to be able to go around in the near future to have conversations with you, whether in Little Manila, in Woodside, or just the Jersey City, sa mga kainan dyan. And of course, I'd like to take this opportunity as well, di ba? Dahil yung pandemic, marami na apektado, especially small Filipino businesses. So, malaking tulong po yung mabibigay natin kung tangkilikin po natin itong mga small businesses natin, especially mga restaurants na maliliit. Yan, dito Woodside, dito Jersey City. So, we could go dine in if allowable, or maybe just go out for takeout. Diba? So, ganun ho, we promise that under my leadership, your consulate will be more engaged, will be more responsive. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you need our assistance.
Thank you so much, Conjen. All the best.
Thank you.
Take care po.
Salamat. I hope to have a more engaging conversation with you when I appear in Issues and Inspiration in the next few weeks. So I hope to see you there. Maraming salamat po.